And somebody said, well, I heard that going a vegetarian is the worst diet you can eat. Let's talk about that.
This program is not intended to take the place of your personal physician's advice, and it is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Discuss this information with your own physician or healthcare provider to determine what is right for you.
He can predict your health future by looking at your refrigerator. Learn what you should eat and what not to eat to get healthy. Dr. Joe Esposito is on. News 95.5 and AM 750 WSB.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. So glad we could spend a little time together as always. Thanks for listening. I do appreciate that. Interesting. I was teaching yesterday, as a matter of fact. I was teaching postgraduate work at Life University in Marietta. I was teaching a bunch of doctors, about 80, 90 doctors there. If you're one of the doctors there, well, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming to my lecture yesterday. And it was a lot of fun. We had a blast, and we recorded it. We'll probably put it on YouTube as well as a podcast. But one of the doctors brought up an interesting question. He said, Dr. Joe, listen, I understand what you're talking about. I'm on board, but I heard two speakers recently say that eating vegetarian is the worst thing you can do, the worst kind of diet you can be on. So I jokingly said, well, I've been doing it now for 34 years, and I'm going to give it another 100 years, and after that, if it doesn't work, I'm going to go back to eating bad foods. And everybody, ha, 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 we moved on. But after the lecture, I thought about it, and I said, how could somebody ever say that eating a vegetarian diet is the worst thing you can do? Now, there's a difference between vegetarian and vegan and plant-based. And vegetarian was the word that was used for a while. Vegetarian, you would assume, would mean that you just ate vegetables. You didn't eat meat. Okay, well, that's true. But many times vegetarians would eat cheese or eggs or butter. And then there's vegan. And vegan is no animal products at all. But that doesn't mean that that's a good choice. I know I'm talking bad about being a vegan, right? Because I've known vegans over the years, and we get patients from all over the world because there's not a lot of plant-based doctors anywhere. So patients come to us from all over the world because they want a doctor who understands their lifestyle. And plant-based means you're eating mostly whole foods that are similar or close to the way they were picked from nature, the way they're harvested in nature. So you can be a vegetarian or a vegan and eat brownies and cookies and cakes and donuts and pastas and bagels and drink margaritas. And yeah, you can be very unhealthy and be a vegan. You can be healthier and be an omnivore, meaning you eat a variety of things, meats and animal products and plants. So you have to make sure you understand where your definitions are coming from, and don't just think because you're a vegan that that's a good thing, because it may not be a good thing. And I don't understand why anyone would say eating a plant-based diet is not good, because it is. There are a few things, we'll talk about that today, limitations you want to look out for, B12 being really the only one major one that I can think of, vitamin B12. But you just take a supplement for that. There's a gazillion things I can think about eating what most people eat, what we call the standard American diet or the SAD diet, SAD. And so we're going to talk about why the plant-based diet is absolutely positively the best way to go from every angle I can possibly come up with. And let me say this. If there was a better way to eat, if there was a better way to nourish my body, I'd be doing it. Why would I not give myself the best? I'm not hung up on the fact that, I'm a vegan and that's what it needs to be. I'm plant-based and it has to be right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm not. And that's the cool thing. And the thing is this, that if you just give up dairy products, you get about 8 quality years to your life on average. If you give up all animal products, if you go plant-based, you're going to add about 11 quality years to your life. And the key word there is quality. Because this is where I'm confused. Some research is saying that this generation of children is the first generation ever to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents by 5 years. That's scary. Then there's studies coming out that are saying, and this is where the public gets confused, and I had to analyze it to make sure I understood it. There are studies coming out saying that more people live to be 100 now in this time than ever before, because technology has ways to keep you alive. The key word here is quality years. I mean, yeah, you can make it to 70, let's say, or 80, and then you have tubes in every orifice of your body and your heart's beating by a machine, and maybe you make it another 20 years. It's not really quality, is it? I want quality. I want extreme health. And so eating a plant-based diet absolutely positively is the best, and if there was any other way to do it, I would be doing it. It takes 20 vegetarians that can live off the land required for just one meat eater. So if we're looking from a plant-based, from an ecological standpoint, 20 vegetarians can live off the same land one meat eater does. And it was interesting, a seminar I recently took, Dr. Dan Murphy, absolutely positively one of the most brilliant human beings to ever walk the face of the earth. And he said something too, which is just research, that said if everybody in the world took fish oil, because omega-3 fatty acids is another issue that we may have if you're on a plant-based diet. If everyone in the world took fish oil, there'd be no fish left. There's not enough fish oil in the world to give the world the omega-3 fatty acids that it requires. And we're depleting the oceans pretty quickly too. The nice part is there's alternatives to that. You can do krill oil, which grows faster than fish, still an animal. You can do algae oil. Algae oil is the purest form of omega-3 fatty acids, a little more expensive. But if you've listened to my shows before, you know that fish don't produce omega-3 fatty acids. Fish get it from eating smaller fish who eat krill, who eat the algae. The algae produce the omega-3 fatty acids. So there's a couple of things you have to watch out for no matter what your lifestyle is. And I've said this 1,000 times. When it comes to eating right, it's not only what you eat, it's what you don't eat. Because you could say to yourself, well, how does somebody who eats animal products or something live to be 100 years old? Well, genetics plays a role, but usually they're avoiding other things. They're avoiding cigarette smokes, they're avoiding alcohol, they're avoiding breads and cookies and cakes and donuts and pastas and artificial sweeteners and sodas. So avoiding things is probably as important, well, I don't know if it's as important, as to what you do eat. So most of the nutrition things that you can do are going to be passive, not active. You have to not do it. So just a couple of stats, because I know radio listeners hate stats because we're not in a stat world anymore. You can look up stats. Every 3 seconds, a child dies of starvation somewhere in the world. If America just alone reduced their meat consumption by 10%, that's you, 10%, that would free up 12 million tons of grain, enough to feed 60 million people. Wow, just 10%. So one day a week, if you just didn't eat animal products, we'd produce 60 million pounds of grain. Now, I'm not a big fan of eating grain. However, if you're starving, yeah, it's a good choice. If all Americans gave up all animal products, it would free enough grain to feed 600 million people if we all did it. And that's the trend, by the way. I talked about this last week, that the trend every year they try to pick a new trend in food. And the trend this year, and it looks like it's going to be next year too, is going to a plant-based diet. And restaurants are crazy how they're putting out plant-based diets. Now, I'm a chiropractor. I'm board certified in chiropractic, orthopedics, pain management, double board certified in nutrition, BS in nutrition, retired dietitian, award-winning author. The show you're hearing is the #1 health and wellness radio show in the country right now. And I want to give you the tools that you need to get well and stay well. That's my job. My website, folks, is drjoe.com. If you have any questions, you can send them to me. If you have a question now, give us a call to studio, 844-44-Dr.Joe, 844-44-DRJOE, and we'll try to get you on the air. Folks, don't go anywhere. Call us in with your questions. We'll be right back. If you're like most people, you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headaches. Maybe it's time to stop suffering and it's time to take action. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, why don't you come see me and my team of doctors, and let's see if you have a problem that we can help. Go to my website, drjoe.com, or call 844-44-Dr.Joe to make an appointment today, because so many of you are out there suffering needlessly, and we want to put a stop to that. Come see us at our offices in Marietta, Stockbridge, and Duluth. Make an appointment today so we can help get you well and keep you well. There we go. Okay, now I can talk to my Facebook and Instagram folks. Got to get the commercials out of the way. Any questions so far, folks? If you have any questions, send them in to us. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, we're streaming at both. And I'll try to get your questions in between the spots. So
we have a suggestion, and that is, please interrupt Eric Von Hessler more during his show. We need to hear more from you.
I hear that a lot, but again, it is Eric's show, and I try. He's getting better, though. I have to say, when we first started, I'd come in and sometimes talk literally 20 seconds in a half hour. And now I'm on every week, by the way, on Eric Von Hessler, if you're somebody listening. He's a host here at WSB, and he does 9 to 12. He's the #1 show in Atlanta from 9 to 12. And he used to give me like 20 seconds, and now he's giving me maybe 4 or 5 minutes. So he's getting better, but I'll try. I'll keep trying. And if you have any other questions, aside from Eric Von Hessler questions, send it in right now on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll talk to you on break. So what we do on this show, if you're new to this, is when I'm on the air, I'm live, and this show goes all around the world, and it's nationally syndicated. Well, with the internet, it's internationally syndicated. And when I'm on the air, I have to follow the guidelines. But when I'm off the air, I can talk to you guys and answer your questions directly. So it's a little more intimate between us answering questions. Our callers They just call in generically from all over the country. You guys get one-on-one attention when we're on break. So we're on break now. So if you have any questions, any healthcare questions at all, give us a shout. And I will look through my notes.
At CIBC, we tailor our services to you. We deliver on your business goals with an experienced commercial banking team you know and the resources of a bank with 150 years of putting clients first. A handshake with us leads to a banking partnership that's made for you. CIBC Commercial Banking. CIBC Bank USA, member FDIC.
The soundtrack of Georgia football is on WSB. Leaped into the end zone. Touchdown, Justin Fields. And the Dogs are 5-0. Carrying people across the goal line. Every play, every score, every game with the voice of the Dogs, Scott Howard.
And there goes Facebook.
Took it to the end zone.
Giving us a little trouble.
Facebook is giving you trouble?
Most days.
No.
Just about every time.
Someday we're going to have a smooth show. No Facebook problems at all. Are we on Facebook now?
Yes.
Oh, we are on. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Say hey to everybody.
Hi, everybody. Garrett tells me to say hi to everybody. He's my boss, so he makes me do things. So he's very generous too, by the way. This guy. I got to talk to him off the air because normally what he does, he gives out coupon codes for you to use on the supplements or the books, and he'll give that toward the end of the show if he's in a good mood. So, and he always does it live, so I can't fight with him. I can't say no, don't do that. But yeah, so he's the generous one here. He gives out all sorts of good stuff. So, and if you go to the website, the website's a really good spot. We have, gosh, well over I think 1,000 podcasts now. If you listen on SoundCloud, you can download the shows, and on Facebook, on YouTube, you have videos and audios of the shows, including these, and so you can watch them. Because a lot of people are visual learners, and some people auditory learners. So if you're a visual learner, you can. There you go. I just keep listening to find out when my cue is to come back on. And if you're a visual learner, you can watch the audios, and if you're an audio person, you can just listen to the audios. And we're going to talk about supplements today because there are some things you need to know about. And if you're listening to the show and you want plant-based supplements, all our supplements are plant-based except the vitamin K. The vitamin D comes from lanolin. But all the other supplements are vegan and plant-based. So I hear everyone has to know. Good time. When I look this way, by the way, I'm looking at Ahmad. Ahmad is my producer. And there's a big giant glass window there. We'll have to take a shot of it one day. And Ahmad stands behind there, and he's the one who makes everything happen. And it's amazing to watch him work. He's just incredible. He just pushes buttons and pushes commercials and just amazing stuff. I didn't hear him. Okay. Should be up in about 30 seconds, folks, so hang on.
Anything big going on in chiropractic after the long week of continued education?
Oh my God, so much research in chiropractic. It's just crazy how much research there is. Well, you know, when we talk about a bone pinching a nerve, it's so much more than that. Here we go. Hold on.
Listen to
Call
him
that next break.
sooner. Dr. Joe Esposito on News 95.5 and AM 750 WSB.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. So glad you're there because hopefully you're going to learn lots of good stuff. And today we're talking about a plant-based diet. Do you really need to eat plants? The answer, I'll cut to the end here, is yes. You absolutely need to. It's so much better for everyone involved, for you, the environment, for your health, for your children, for your genetics, for your epigenetics. You ever hear that word, epigenetics? That's a really cool word. Gary, you ever hear that word before? Never heard epigenetics? No?
Nor do I think I could spell it.
Epigenetics, that's right. If Garrett spells something right, I ring the bell for him here. Epigenetics, you have the genetics, you have your genetic code. But epigenetics are things that influence your DNA. So it could be stress. Okay, you could have a certain type of DNA, but you have a horrible trauma as a child. Epigenetics. Could be environment, could be food, could be thought patterns, could be people you hang out with, and those are called epigenetics. And so we're finding now that the plant-based diet even affects your epigenetics. It can affect your genetics and everything else around it. And what happens too, this is really cool. We're finding now that if your grandmother was exposed to something, even some toxins that don't exist anymore, it can affect your genetics. So you got to remember everything you're doing, all those wild parties you're going to and the drinking bashes you're doing and maybe the illicit medications you're doing is going to affect your children and your children's children. So now there's a little more responsibility on your end. Now, as a chiropractor, my team of doctors, we look to affect the body too. We're finding now that chiropractic care, Garrett asked me that question at the break, what's new in chiropractic research, that an adjustment is affecting your genetics. It's an epigenetic influence on your body. And we always thought about, years ago, September 18th, 1895 was the first chiropractic adjustment in Davenport, Iowa. And we said, okay, bone is pinching a nerve, put the bone back in place, it opens it up. But the research now is showing some amazing things, how it stimulates or suppresses certain areas of your spinal cord and your brain. And so we can adjust you, and you might have neck pain or back pain, and you think, oh, that adjustment was great, doc, it helped my back pain. When in reality, it not only helped your back pain, it helped your brain. Had somebody send me a question this week on my website, drjoe.com, and he said, what supplements can I take after having a stroke? And my answer was, well, Dr. Joe's Super Greens, of course, and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Those are the core supplements. For him, I had to find out more information what caused the stroke, because we might get him on nitric oxide to increase his circulation. Vitamin D, every seminar I take, every research paper I read, somewhere or another, vitamin D seems to pop up. Most of us are so deficient in vitamin D, and we always thought it was just good for the bones, it helped build bones. Now we're finding it helps build your immune system. We're finding it helps the brain work more efficiently. It helps with weight loss. It helps with cancer. So vitamin D is one of those things that really is coming into its own. We've been talking about it for 30 years now, but it's getting a lot more press. And I take about 5,000 international units of vitamin D a day. The recommended dose is like 800 international units. It's not enough. It's not enough to raise the vitamin D levels in your blood, and that's when you start to see some medicinal or health changes. So we have a Dr. Joe's vitamin D as well. So I told him to take Dr. Joe's vitamin D, talked about nitric oxide, the Super Greens, the Essential Source. And then I said, the research is very clear on chiropractic and stroke patients because your brain has something in it called plasticity. Plasticity means your brain is plastic. It can reshape and remodel itself. And this is why if somebody has a stroke and they're paralyzed on one side of the body, with proper therapy, many times function is restored. And I remember even being when I was in college way back when, and thinking that, well, wait a minute, if brain cells are dead and they're dead forever, that's what we were taught then, how does this person restore normal function? Well, it turns out that the brain has this trait called plasticity where it can rewire itself. And that's where chiropractic care comes in. So it's not just a bone pinching a nerve, it's sending neurological impulses up to the brain, and the brain is now activated and can set up new neural pathways. Some pretty cool stuff right there. But I digress. We're not talking about chiropractic today. We're talking about chiropractic. We have to. It is the core of a good healthcare plan. And this is why years ago we didn't get referrals from urologists and neurologists and orthopedic surgeons, and now we get them almost on a daily basis. Dr. Joe, this is amazing. I had a nephrologist come in the other day as a patient, and he was just blown away. He says, I hear you talk all the time. He says, check me out. I want to see if I have the conditions that you talk about. And sure enough, he did. And he was very excited to start treatment. Right after that, I had a nurse. And she said, do you do internships? And I said, no, not really, I don't. She goes, I'm just fascinated by everything you teach, and it just blows me away, and I really want to learn more about it, so it's kind of cool stuff. But back to a plant-based diet, that's our topic today. Oh, by the way, if you have a healthcare question, your lines are open, 844-44-Dr.Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. That number rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air. So, a couple other facts, vegetarians, 20% lower mortality rate from all causes. They live longer, they don't get sick as often. So just a ton of reasons as to why you want to go plant-based. So let's look at the American Dietetic Association. American Dietetic Association, kind of conservative. I don't agree with a lot of things they say, but let's look at their position on plant-based diets. Position of the American Dietetic Association, that appropriately planned vegetarian diets, including total vegetarian and vegan diets, are healthful, nutritionally adequate, and may provide health benefits in the prevention of certain types of disease. Well-planned vegetarian diets are appropriate for individuals of all stages of life, including pregnancy, lactation, infancy, childhood, and adolescent, and athletes. And that's the new buzz thing now, folks. A lot of athletes are going plant-based. And they're seeing dramatic improvements in their skill levels, and their energy levels, and their performance levels. If it works for professional athletes, guess what? It's going to work for you too. And if you're eating the standard American diet, the chances are you are deficient in a lot of nutrients. And so that's why minimum things you should do, minimum amount of nutrients would be Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Everyone should be taking Super Greens and Essential Source. If you're on high blood thinners, make sure you tell your doctor that you're taking Super Greens and Essential Source. You have to do it every day. And when you do, the doctor can then monitor your blood for you and then alter your medication if necessary. The cool part is that a lot of patients, when they change their diet and get chiropractic care, come off their medication. And that's why it's important. I tell my patients, continue to have your medical doctor co-manage your case, because we may be able to get you off some of these meds and prevent a lot of other problems. All the time, people come in all the time and say, 2 doctors recommended surgery. I said, let's try this conservative approach first. Let's try plant-based diet. Let's try supplements. Let's try chiropractic care, and let's see what happens. And an amazing majority of those patients, they never have to go further. They actually improve dramatically. Just had a patient recently just blown away last week because he's starting to feel better, and he's going back to his surgeon. He says, what do I tell the surgeon? I said, tell him what you're doing. Tell him you're feeling better. Let's see if you still need the surgery. And I feel he doesn't. So anyway, American Dietetic Association. The results of an evidence-based review show that a vegetarian diet is associated with lower risk of death from ischemic heart disease. Vegetarians also appear to have low-density lipoprotein cholesterol levels, lower blood pressure, lower rates of hypertension, type 2 diabetes, than those of their non-vegetarian counterparts. In addition to assessing dietary adequacy, food and nutrition professionals, this is a key, folks, if you're a doctor or nutritionist, listen, gotta go to break, can also play key roles in educating vegetarians about specific nutrients, food, and preparation. Folks, gotta go to break. Music came on, surprised me there, Ahmad. If you have a question, give us a call, 844-44-Dr.Joe. Any healthcare question whatsoever, 844-44-Dr.Joe. My website, drjoe.com. Over 1,000 hours of podcast there. You can order the Super Greens, the Essential Source, all my supplements. If you have questions, send them to me through the website, drjoe.com, because we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge, by the way, in the Atlanta area. My team of doctors have one goal. We want to get you well and keep you well. Hey, don't go anywhere. Tell your friends about the show. I'll be right back.
All right, we got a brand new weeks up here. One grain bread. Do I hear any takers? 1 grain bread.
Mott surprised me there. I wasn't ready for music. I was kind of in my zone there. So, what do you got? Any questions?
A really good one.
Good.
And one that I've talked a lot of my friends into going vegan because of. Question is, how can you be trying to build muscle and bulk up by being vegetarian?
The number one question we get, where do you get your protein? You're going to have to listen for this because I'm going to cover it in depth. Believe me, it's the number one question we get. And I'll give you a quick thing. You do not need animal protein to bulk up. There are tons of professional bodybuilders, first class winner bodybuilders, national champion bodybuilders that are plant-based.
And it's more efficient.
It's more efficient.
You can only assimilate, like 40 to 50% of protein from
way less than that. Yeah, I mean, you
only that's the high.
Oh, the high, yeah.
The peak.
Right. Your body only needs about 10% if you're a professional athlete, if you're a bodybuilder. 10% of your total caloric intake is protein. Anything beyond that is wasted. A steak is 17%. So what's the rest of that? It's wasted. And it has to be processed through your liver and your kidneys. And that's what I was talking about with my nephrologist friend, that it puts such a strain on the kidneys, and you put them on a low-protein diet to take the stress off the kidneys. And he said, that makes perfect sense. I'm pushing 60. I run circles around the 20-year-olds. They get mad at me sometimes. Calm down, sit down, relax a little bit. No. 3 practices, radio shows. We do another radio show on Sunday mornings for B98 and 97.1 The River. We videotape that. We have a TV show as well on Over the Top Network. The 3 practices, social life, articles, lectures, teaching. I teach postgraduate work. I don't know, I think I'm doing pretty good. So you do not absolutely positively need anything but a good quality plant-based diet to build muscle. And you'll do it more efficiently, actually.
Well, yeah, because then you have to break down the protein that's in the animal product rather than creating it yourself.
And then you got to recycle it and put it into the liver. The liver has to reassemble it. So yeah, you don't need that. So.
What do you think in terms of the extra energy it takes to break down animal protein, and what that would do if you're trying to bulk up and build muscle, and you had all of that excess energy instead?
Right.
For having broken down plant-based energy.
The number one consumer of energy as humans we have is sex. The number 2 consumer of energy is digestion. And the hardest thing to digest is animal proteins. And now if you want to eat animal proteins, that's your call. I'm not telling you this is what you have to do, and I'm not going to argue with you if you want to do it. But if you do eat animal proteins, I recommend organic only. And I don't think there's anybody worth their salt out there that's going to tell you that organic is not better than non-organic. All the great researchers that I know and all the valid research I read is that plant-based is great, and that if you're going to eat animal proteins, it has to be organic. Because the pesticides are really screwing people up. What else you got?
So here's one from YouTube. If I start lifting weights. What is the best thing to take for the torn muscle and tissue to repair itself in a healthy way?
Okay, Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, and Dr. Joe's Nitric Oxide. The nitric oxide converts into the citrulline converts into nitric oxide, which opens up your blood vessels and increases circulation. A lot of athletes take Dr. Joe's nitric oxide before they work out, and they see a dramatic improvement in their workout. And so that's what I would do. And then ice to bring down the swelling. And here's the thing, if you're working out, you have to consider chiropractic care. That has to be something that is absolutely unquestionable. Because if you have crooked bones, you're building up strong muscles around crooked bones. I want you building up strong muscles around straight bones. And that's why so many athletes, we see them in our offices, I can't use names because of confidentiality, but a lot of professional and amateur athletes, you'll see them in our office. A lot of TV people, a lot of radio people are patients in our office because they understand that they want to be as healthy as they possibly can. And a lot of athletes work out, and then they have an injury, and they can't work out, and they say, I should have come to you sooner. Had we fixed the minor issue, it wouldn't have become a major issue.
And there's a lot of professional teams that are now hiring chiropractors.
I don't know of any professional team that doesn't have a chiropractor right now. They all do. In fact, the Atlanta Braves, we have some contacts there, and there's been some buzz that they may want to talk to us too. So
keep your fingers crossed.
There you go.
So now, does vitamin K help with bleeding? If I get a cut and I'm taking vitamin K, would that help slow or stop the bleeding altogether?
Vitamin K will clot the blood, yes, and that's the big thing. If you're on blood thinners and you take vitamin K, it's counterproductive with the blood thinners. However, if you're taking vitamin K on a regular basis, if you're eating a plant-based diet, you're taking super greens and essential source on a regular basis, the doctor will monitor you and determine how to alter your medication, and in many cases, patients come off the medication.
All right. Now, this person has developed a small rash underneath one of their armpits. The deodorant that they use is not an antiperspirant.
Good.
What could be hidden in there, you think?
Could be yeast infection. Sometimes when you see it in warm, moist places.
So it may not have anything to do with the deodorant.
May not have to do with deodorant, yeah. If you want to make a deodorant, do we have that deodorant recipe on the website?
Is that up there?
Yes. Okay. Go to the website, drjoe.com, under blog, which is my articles. We have a deodorant recipe that's pretty benign. It's baking soda, shea butter, and coconut oil. And you get a double boiler, mix them together. You can put a little tea tree oil in there, but if you're irritated, you may want to skip that part. And just use that as your deodorant for a while. That should bring it down. If you have rashes also on your feet, your crotch, if it's a woman in a vagina, itchy rectum, that could be a sign of a systemic yeast infection. And then you got to call the office and we got to put you on a yeast protocol. And it's a little challenging. The yeast protocol usually takes several months to kill the yeast in your body. But if you have the yeast, you increase your risk of other diseases. So if you have that, aside from your armpit, you really need to call us and get working on this right away.
How much time do you think we got?
33, 34, we got about a minute and a half.
Okay, cool. Quick one here is thoughts on stone ground dark chocolate.
Yeah, dark chocolate's fine. The amount you should eat is about the size of the tip of your thumb, maximum a day. Make sure it's organic, make sure it's dark chocolate, make sure it's only a small amount. So I'm okay with chocolate if you want to. I can't do it because it has theobromine and caffeine, which gives me a headache. But
so this person just received our vitamin D3 with K2 and wanted to know how many drops they should be taking.
5. A drop is 1,000 international units, so 5 drops a day for the average adult. No, weather.
All right.
What else you got?
What shampoo do you recommend?
Jason's is one of the ones I've been using lately. Make sure you go to a health food section of the store. Make sure it doesn't have phthalates or fragrances. That's the best. You could also use, hold on. Chiropractic care. Most people benefit from chiropractic care because chiropractic care tries to get to the cause of your problems and not just cover up the symptoms. If you're ready to get well, I want you to go to my website, drjoe.com, or call 844-44-DR-JOE and make an appointment for you, your friends, and your family today. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. Make an appointment today so we can help get you well and keep you well. Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. So glad you spent a little time with us today. Good show today. We're talking about should you eat a plant-based diet, the benefits of why you should be eating a plant-based diet. The answer, of course, is yes, you should. But what spurred this on is I was teaching postgraduate at Life University in Marietta, Georgia, yesterday, as a matter of fact. And one of the doctors had said he's getting conflicting views. Some people saying, yes, it's good. Some people, God knows why, would say, no, it's not healthy. And the answer is, wow, I need to meet those people because that's insane to say that. The research is clear as it can be. If you have a healthcare question, lines are open, 844-44-Dr. Joe, 844-4-DRJOE is the number at the studio here. That rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air. So in case you want to make an appointment to come see us, just remember 844-44-Dr. Joe. So, vegetarian, we talked about that. Sometimes they'll eat fish, sometimes they'll eat eggs, which makes no sense to me. Lacto-ovo-vegetarian and pesco-vegetarian. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Either do it or don't. You know, I used to know a gal, and she said, you know, moderation is for monks. And that was she lived her life by that. And it's true, moderation is for monks. I want extreme health. And you're not going to miss it. This is the thing. I was talking to a fellow vegan right before the show. And she said, too, she said, the benefits are just incredible. You go to the bathroom better. She goes, it took her several months once she was plant-based to get the bowels moving. Now they go twice a day, which is normal. Her kitchen doesn't stink. She said she's cleaning her countertops on the top of her counters. You know, you never look on top of your cabinets there. And she said from the years when I used to eat meats, it was all greasy and disgusting up there and it was filthy. She goes, that doesn't happen anymore. So you'll save a ton of money. You'll probably feel better. You'll probably live longer. You'll go to the bathroom better. You'll sleep better. Your love life improves. Your circulation improves. Your kitchen is cleaner. There's no downside that I can see to eating a plant-based diet. And we're talking now about what the American Dietetic Association says about a plant-based diet. And it's very clear that it's fine. That nobody has any arguments with it. And it's interesting, too. Well, you got to plan your plant-based diet. No, you got to plan every diet. Because if you're not planning your diet, you're not thinking about what to eat, you got a problem. So if you don't know what to eat, the first book I ever wrote was called Eating Right for the Health of It, an excellent guide. If you go to my website and go to the Dr. Joe show, and we have a great show on there, it's called So What Can I Eat? And it's a whole hour, it's just an audio, and it's a whole hour of me going through what you can eat, breakfast, lunches, dinner, snacks, if you're going to a party, if you're raising children, if you have to bring something to a party. Eating Right for the Health of It is a great guide, too, with a bunch of recipes, and a lot of people take that, pick out a recipe and bring it. You can trust every one of them. It's just going to be spectacular. So I'm going to start taking some calls. If you have a question, 844-44-Dr. Joe. And then I'll get back to the topics here. And we're going to go to John. How can we make your day better? Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. Sure, absolutely. So in case the listener just tuned in, she's an elderly family member of yours, older family member, heart issues, swelling in the legs, and you want to know about thiamine deficiencies, or well, I'll talk about all B vitamin deficiencies, and can that affect it? The answer is a resounding yes. And if a good blood work is done, they're going to test for things like that. They're going to test your B vitamin levels. So B vitamin deficiency is very, very common in our society because a lot of foods don't have it anymore. Soil has been depleted so much in just the past few years even. And the nutritional value is dropping like a rock. Where I did a show a while ago on that. You had to eat like, I don't know, 30 ears of corn or something like that to get the equivalent of 1 ear of corn from 1930 or something. So yeah, the food is really deficient, and B vitamins is one of the things. One of the supplements we have, one of our biggest sellers, is Dr. Joe's B complex. Because so many of us are deficient in B vitamins, and B vitamins affect the nervous system, and the nervous system controls the heart. Nervous system controls the circulatory system. So the answer is yes. There's a very good chance if she's not eating a good diet that she needs to at least get on Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. And then I would add Dr. Joe's B Complex to it just to make sure she's got enough B vitamins. And let's do it for 2 months and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, hey, it didn't work. I lied to you. It'll work. Good. Thanks so much, John. I appreciate the call. And that's the thing, folks. I tell people this. Give it a shot and see. The biggest complaint I get in my office is, why didn't I do this sooner? And my answer is always, I don't know. Why didn't you do it sooner? So people always ask me, what do you eat? And listen, I know some of you are going to call in and say, where do you get your protein from? I know that's coming up. Don't worry. It's the #1 question I get. Where do you get your protein? Where do you get your calcium? I'm going to cover that too. So if you have a question, give us a call like John did, 844-44-Dr.Joe, 844-444-DRJOE. Restaurants. Let's talk about restaurants. And this is cool because it's a trend. I've been eating well for 34 years now. But everywhere I go, I'm seeing more and more options for people that eat a plant-based diet. In fact, I was just strolling the halls here of the studio before I went on the air. And there was some menus from a Vietnamese restaurant. Now, Vietnamese restaurants are usually well known for their animal products. And I've been to a few Vietnamese restaurants. They give you like water with some noodles in it and a carrot, and they go, here's your soup. 4 or 5 things on the menu that they had that were listed as vegan, which is really exciting. So you are making a demand for it. You, the public, are making a demand for it. And the nice part is this, that if you do eat meat, you can always eat a plant-based diet. If you're plant-based, you can't go to the meat diet. So restaurants are realizing that you have $1 and they want your dollar. And so they're saying, let's go ahead and put something on the menu that solves the problem. A friend of mine has one of very, very successful restaurants in Atlanta here. And he met with me the other day. He wanted me to try this vegan cheese on his pizza. And he said, Espo, if you approve, it's going on a menu. And I said, another thing you need to do is put a little V on your menus, letting people know, or I would put VG for vegan, and let people know that. Because most people are just going to pass right over it. But why would you not offer and let people know you have these things? Because then people will go there and buy it. He says, Espo, that's blank and brilliant. And I said, yeah, it is, because it doesn't cost you anything and lets people know it's there. But even college is now offering it. I know Life University is offering more and more options. So you're seeing more and more places offer the plant-based diets for economical reasons. I want you to do it for health reasons. And by the way, it's always the cheapest thing on the menu too. So we're going to go to a break pretty soon. So when I come back from the break, we're going to talk about the World Cancer Research Society. Cancer Research and World Cancer Research Funds, American Cancer Society, American Heart Association, Unified Dietary Guidelines. What are they saying about that? So if you have heart disease or cancer, what do you think your doctor should be teaching you? Folks, got to go to break. If you have a healthcare question, 844-44-Dr.Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. My website, if you want to get my supplements, listen to podcasts, send me questions, drjoe.com. And in the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love to have the opportunity to be your doctor. Hey, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Does this sound like you? Neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, headaches? Chances are you'd benefit from chiropractic care. Most people benefit from chiropractic care because chiropractic care tries to get to the cause of your problems and not just cover up the symptoms. If you're ready to get well, I want you to go to my website, drjoe.com, or call 844-44-Dr.Joe and make an appointment for you, your friends, and your family today. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. Make an appointment today so we can help get you well and keep you well.
Hey, Sean Hannity here for Renters Warehouse, the professional.
All right, Sean. My turn. All right. Let's take some callers or questions. Then I'll get the callers here as well.
Well, I wanted to congratulate Misty, who says that after 9 months of not only being vegan but taking Super Greens and Essential Source, she's now been approved to come off of her anti-anxiety medication.
How about Misty? That's rocking.
Nice.
So the Super Greens, the Essential Source stuff, and eating right really works, doesn't it? Think how much money we, the public, would save if everybody followed Misty's advice. If she just ate right, took Super Greens and Essential Source. And I hear that story every single hour of every single day. Stories like yours. And people say, why didn't I do this sooner? And I'm sure, Misty, you're probably saying the same thing. Why didn't I do this sooner? Can you call the 844 number just to make sure it's ringing?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we had a couple come in and it was a weird number that came in. So Misty, good job. Really proud of you. That's awesome. And folks, listen to Misty. She knows what she's talking about because it's relatively inexpensive. The Super Greens, the Essential Source, it's just over $2 a day for both of them. Let's see if it rings through. Yep, there it is. Okay, just tell Crystal it's you. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Phone number works.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, it's just some weird stuff coming in there. Okay. Yes. Good job,
So
Misty. Yes.
is there a good diet for FIB patients? FIB. I'm thinking
Fib.
fib. Ah, fib.
You don't get a bell today. No bell for you. No soup for you. No bell for you. Yeah, atrial fibrillation. Yes, absolutely. You want to stay away from the stimulating foods like caffeines. You want to stay away from chocolates, coffees, teas. But many times AFib patients, I find that the stomach can push up against the diaphragm. If the stomach pushes up against the diaphragm, that can irritate what's called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve controls every one of your organs except your adrenal glands. And when your vagus nerve is being irritated, it can send an impulse over to the heart, and the heart can then come out of rhythm. So we've had a lot of AFib patients over the years. We have to work on their digestive system to get their heart beating properly. Now, don't come off your medication. Follow your cardiologist's advice. The other thing we have to check is right here. The lower part of the neck is the nerve supply to the heart. So we've had AFib patients already where we have to adjust the neck, open up the nerve supply, adjust the stomach, get them on a good diet, make sure you're getting enough B vitamins. Make sure you have a good balance of sodium and potassium. So if you have a blood work done, make sure you test your sodium and potassium, because sodium and potassium are the things that make the nerves fire. Sodium is inside the cell, potassium is outside of the cell. They go in and out, back and forth, and they create an electrical impulse, or a potential it's called. And so that makes the heart beat as well. So check the digestive system for parasympathetic, sympathetic imbalances and vagus nerves. Check the nerve supply to the stomach. Go to my plant-based diet, and let's see what happens. Chances are you'll be very happy with the results.
Here's a really good question I've actually been meaning to ask you myself, and I'm going to reword it just a little bit,
Okay.
Marissa. But how do you go about identifying tech neck and treating it? And maybe what are some exercises that could be done at home to help with that?
If you're asking, you have it. That's pretty easy diagnosis, because we all have it. We do this all day, okay? And that becomes a real big issue. And tech neck has really been I think chiropractors invented cell phones because it brings business to us, you know? We invented amusement parks too, I think, because it brings business to us. But yeah, if you have to ask, you probably have it. What to do about it is a real challenge because everything is down here. What you can do is when you go home at night, take your head and just lay it over the side of the bed and let your head go backwards and drop your shoulders and concentrate on relaxing all those muscles. And that'll help open up. I'm not hearing him on. I don't know why I'm not hearing him, but I know he's telling me something. Oh, 30 seconds, okay. And then you got to get chiropractic care, because if you don't have a proper curve in your neck, it will lead to degeneration. The only guarantee I can give you in the healthcare world, if you have bones out of place and not a proper curve, you will develop arthritis, guaranteed 100%. In fact, I spent 3 hours yesterday at a seminar talking about nothing but cervical curves and the research that's out there. And it's very, very clear what happens with that, and then what nerves are being pinched and what nerves affect the organs, and the research is just piling up over the years. Why it's so important. Oh, here we go.
Naturally get well and stay well. Dr. Joe Esposito on WSB.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. So glad you're with us today because we're having a lot of fun. And we're talking about plant-based diets. And by the way, folks, make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, because a lot of times, like today, we live stream the shows. And then a lot of folks, it's interesting because the phones don't light up usually until about a half hour, 45 minutes into the show. But Facebook and Instagram, everybody's real comfortable. They'll send questions through it there as well. But do that, and then we can take your questions there, and we send out a lot of information there. But if you have a question and you want to do it the old-fashioned way with a phone, you can give us a call at 844-44-Dr.Joe, 844-44-DRJOE, and we'll get you on the line if we can. If you have a good question, we'll get you on. If you don't have a good question, we probably won't get you on. And my website is drjoe.com. We can get the Super Greens, the essential source. Somebody had a question about B vitamins before. We're going to talk about adrenal support, digestive enzymes, a lot of good stuff like that. All that's on the website, drjoe.com. And I never talk about this, Dr. Joe's blog. Articles that I've written, they're real brief. I'm very clear to make the articles short. I know you're not going to read a big, long research article. I kind of condense it down for you. But those are all on the website, drjoe.com. And if you want to make an appointment to come see us, in the Atlanta area, Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge, we'd love to be your doctors. So here's this interesting too. American Institute for Cancer Research, the World Cancer Research Fund, called for choosing predominantly plant-based diets rich in a variety of fruits and vegetables, legumes, and minimally processed, starchy, stable foods, and limiting meat consumption. So here we are. We got the cancer researchers from all around the world saying the same thing. American Cancer Society recommends choosing foods from plant sources. American Heart Association recommends choosing a balanced diet with an emphasis on vegetables, grains, and fruits. Heart and Stroke Foundation of Canada recommends using vegetables instead of meat as a centerpiece for meals. Unified dietary guidelines developed by the American Cancer Society, American Heart Association, National Institutes for Health, American Academy of Pediatrics call for what? A plant-based diet on a variety of plant foods, including grain products, vegetables, fruits, to reduce major chronic diseases. Wow. If everybody's agreeing on this, there's nobody not agreeing on this. Why is it that you're not hearing more about this? Well, you are hearing more about it. I shouldn't say why you're not hearing more. Why isn't it the only thing being taught? And this was what excites me. Because for years I've been, trumpeting the benefits of eating a plant-based diet, and all these other societies have finally caught up with us. And now we're right. And it's interesting because the trend is growing. It's nonstop. That's why you see it in the restaurant industry. And you'll see in the next 5 or 10 years, like so many other predictions that I made over the years, you'll say Dr. Joe was right. We put that in the Dr. Joe was right column because I am right. And try. Here's my challenge to you. Try what I'm saying. Take the super greens, the essential source. Go to a mainly plant-based diet. Cut out the breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas. If you don't know what to eat, Eating Right for the Health of It is a great book. It's on my website, drjoe.com. If you go to my podcast, we have on a Dr. Joe Show podcast. It's called So What Can I Eat? It's a whole hour on what to eat. Give it a shot. Give it a shot for 2 weeks. If I'm wrong, I lied to you. Not the first man to ever lie to you. Let's start taking some more calls. If you have a question, 844-44-Dr. Joe. Beth, how can we make your day better? Beth going once. Beth going twice. No Beth? Hello, Beth. Oh, man, I had my finger on a button, Beth. You were that close. Okay. What? I know you got, this is the new trend. Everybody asks the same question, so go ahead. Yes. Uh-huh. Sure. Very confusing, isn't it? Yes. Sure, you got the lectin diet. Yeah, you got the lectin diet. You got the gluten-free diet. You got the vegan diet. You got the paleo diet. You got the ketogenic diet. I don't like the word diet. Now, lectins are proteins. Yeah, lectins are proteins, and gluten is a lectin. Okay, gluten is one of the lectins. There are other lectins found in beans. They're found in tomatoes. They're found in cucumbers. And so the now research is saying, well, lectins are proteins. They get into your small intestine. They can cause a lot of inflammation, tear up your colon, and then you're a mess. The number one diet for longevity is a plant-based diet. So now I'm really confused too. Wait a minute, you're saying be careful with all these different plants and grain and legumes and beans, but a plant-based diet is going to increase your life expectancy. So what do? So according to the research on the lectins, if you use a pressure cooker will break down the lectins. And the one thing I do like about the researchers that are saying the lectin diet is an issue is that they're saying if you do eat animal products, and you eat animal products that eat lectins, like corns and soybeans, it's just as bad or worse than eating the corn or soybeans itself. I like that. I agree with that. So if you're going to eat animal products, once again, we're all agreeing again, it has to be organic. I eat mostly vegetables. Do I eat beans? Yes, I do. Not a whole lot, but I do. If you have a pressure cooker, you want to take it, you need the fiber, right? So I eat mostly vegetables. I have super greens and essential source for breakfast every day, and then usually a piece of fruit. Right around 10 o'clock, I get hungry. I usually have a handful of nuts, maybe some seeds. Lunch is usually a salad. Okay, so far I'm lectin-free no matter what. And then dinner varies. And dinner, sometimes I will have beans. So if you pressure cook them, it breaks down the lectins. That being said, I'd rather see you eat beans and tomatoes and things with lectins than I'd rather see you eat meats and dairy products and breads and cookies and cakes and pastas. So okay, good. Okay, well, fish and chicken, I've never seen a fish plant, have you? a chicken bush? Never saw a chicken bush. I have seen an eggplant. Ah, there you go. Yeah, if you're eating chicken and fish, you're eating meat, Beth. I hate to break the news to you. Well, here's my challenge to you, Beth. The challenge I just gave everybody. Let's go plant-based for 2 weeks. Let's take Super Greens and Essential Source, and let's see what happens. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong. How about that? Fair enough? Thanks, Beth. Appreciate the call. And it is confusing, folks, because every time somebody puts out a new book, everybody jumps on that bandwagon. And there was the Atkins diet, which was eat all the meat you want with bacon and everything else, and you lose weight. Well, you can. You'll die, probably of heart disease, but yeah, does it work? Absolutely. You'll lose some weight. Even the ketogenic diet. I like it for about 2 months. After that, you start increasing your risk of heart disease by about 30%. So the one thing that you can, is a sustainable diet, is a plant-based diet, which is what we've been talking about. So there's no reason not to do these things, except, from what I remember, animal products taste good. That's what I've heard anyway. It's been a while. It's been 32 years or so since I've had any animal products. But everyone is agreeing. It's very easy to do the plant-based diet, and it's less expensive than anything than you're doing right now, and you probably live a lot longer. When we come back, I'm going to answer the age-old question. Ahmad, what is it? Where do you get your protein? There you go. I'm going to answer, where do you get your protein? And Ahmad, stay on top of these things here. So, folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. My website, drjoe.com. Well over 1,000 hours of podcast there. If you want to order supplements, send me questions, drjoe.com. If you want to call the studio, 844-44-Dr. Joe. We'll be right back.
Are you experiencing hot flashes or
Oh,
fatigue?
that's loud. There we go.
What do you do for UTI?
UTI. You got to get your low back adjusted. The nerves in the low back control the bladder and the urinary tract. That's number one. Number two, you got to stay away from all sugary foods because sugar feeds the bacteria. And when I say sugar, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas, anything with sugar or grains in it. And then pure cranberry juice, not cranberry juice cocktail. We talked about this yesterday in the postgraduate classes I was teaching. It's got to be pure cranberry juice because pure cranberry juice has a component that prevents the bacteria from sticking to the bladder and the urethra. It's got to be pure cranberry juice, diluted with water. If you can't take it, because it really is nasty, use a little stevia in there. But you got to get the low back adjusted too and get to the cause of the problem, not just treat the symptoms.
I drink a big gulp of pure cranberry juice every morning.
You do?
I love it.
Oh, God, you're weird. Oh, my God, that stuff is awful.
I like sour.
You're weird. Oh, you see? I've known people. I even thinking about lemons makes my mouth tingle. I don't know how you people do sour. God.
Are there any fruits and vegetables that you don't recommend eating?
Wow. I don't think so. I can't think of it. Now, there's limits. You don't want to eat nothing but fruit because it's too much sugar. I recommend about 2 or 3 pieces a day of fruit. Can't think of any that I would recommend not eating. No.
Can't either.
No.
But something that I have read, it's either Dr. Sebi or somebody under his idea of the alkalinity and that says not to eat 2 different types of fruit within 5 minutes of each other.
Yeah, I mean, you're not supposed to mix fruits and vegetables. That's food combining. So I can't think of any fruits and vegetables not to eat. How you eat them, I may have some issues with. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like I said,
certain veggies you shouldn't cook or overcook.
Right, like melons, for example, eat it alone or leave it alone because melons take about 20 minutes to get from your stomach to your small intestine. So if you do melons with gluten protein-free diet, feels like hell. Okay. Good. We'll find out what he is eating. He's not taking Super Greens and Essential Source probably.
Melons.
Melons, yeah. Eat them alone or leave them alone because they digest pretty quickly. Now that being said, if the biggest sin you have is you ate a melon with some mango, you're probably okay. But if you eat melon with a steak, that melon's going to break down like Italian, prosciutto, which is a ham with a melon. If you eat that, it takes 20 minutes to get the melon out of the stomach. It can take 6 hours to get the prosciutto, the ham, out of the stomach. And so it's going to sit there and rot. The melon is going to sit in the stomach and rot. So that's where food combining comes in.
Now, on the rash and the yeast, what could be the cause of the yeast?
If you expose your body to antibiotics, I was going to say take antibiotics, but just exposing your body to it. Chlorine, if you swim in a chlorinated pool, if you drink chlorinated water, if you eat meats and dairy products, many commercial ones have low levels of antibiotics in it. If you ever took antibiotics. Oh, I can't hear you.
Promos.
Got it. Okay. Let me finish this question real quick. they can kill a bacteria in the colon, and you have yeast in the colon and bacteria. So if the bacteria starts to die off, the yeast can multiply and dig holes into your colon and get into your blood system. So the cause of yeast is usually too much sugar, or too much sugar feeding the yeast, and or antibiotics that killed off the good bacteria. So, that being said,
So even got to be careful taking your showers.
even your showers, yeah, because just taking a shower, you can get my notes here.
That was something you talked about yesterday too, was
Yes.
absorbing through your skin.
That's why it's important to have a water filter. There it is. All right, just got to get my notes out here so I can do my liners. And what we do now, folks, on Facebook and Instagram is the show goes all around the world, so I have to do these liners because some stations carry it live, some stations carry it on tape, and they do commercials with these as well. And so I got to do the commercials so they can run them before they run the show. Ready to rock. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. This week we're talking about plant-based diets. Are they really safe? And the things you need to know before you go and do it. Dr. Joe Esposito here. This week on my show we'll be discussing a plant-based diet. Is it really for you? And is there... Dr. Joe Esposito here. This week on my show we'll be discussing plant-based diets. Is it something you should do? And if you do it, what you need to know about it. Hey, we're talking about plant-based diets and what you need to know, the pros and the cons, this week on the Dr. Joe Esposito Show. Boom. So professional we are.
Yeah, he doesn't cut anything. You just need to give enough time in between them until he finds them.
What, about it? Well, I messed up on the second one, that's why. So I just want to let him know that he,
That number 2.
Yeah, he just that's right. He just edits it out. All right, what else you got?
Here is one that might take a little bit more explanation. My sister has skin lupus and is suffering pretty horribly.
Yes.
Doctors have done steroids, but she doesn't want to do that. I'm guessing they've offered or they've done it before and they're suggesting more steroids, but...
Well, steroids shut down your immune system. Got me green on my mouth? I'm good. Drink my Super Greens Essential Source. The only downside is sometimes you get green on your mouth. The downside of steroids is the upside is it shuts down your immune system. The downside is it shuts down your immune system. So lupus is an autoimmune disease. The body's attacking itself. So what they try to do is stop the body from attacking itself. Sounds like a good idea. The other thing we can do is help stabilize the immune system. Because what happens is with the immune system, if you can imagine, there's only so many soldiers, white blood cells, attacking. And if the immune system is attacking everything in sight, it's a big problem. So what if we take the stress off the immune system? And this works very well with lupus patients, in most cases. Got to get them off all the sugar. Now when I say sugar, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, got to cut it out. You got to get the vitamin D levels up. And Dr. Joe's vitamin D is excellent. For someone like her, every time she gets blood work done, have them check her vitamin D levels. I do 5,000 international units of vitamin D a day, and it's 5 drops.
D3.
D3, yes. Not D2, D3, and that's very important. Because if the doctor says you're low in vitamin D, here's D2, that's synthetic, it's not going to do what the D3 does. She's got to cut out all breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas. I usually put patients with autoimmune conditions on Super Greens and Essential Source because they work very well for the immune system. And then we have something called Dr. Joe's Wellness Booster. It's echinacea, pau d'arco, olive leaf extract, and suma root. And once again, I'm not prescribing this. I'm saying this is what I would do if it were me. And that helps get the immune system normalized. And if she does all those things and then goes to a plant-based diet, chances are within just a few days, like the girl who called in earlier, Misty, she's going to be very happy with the results. And then send her in to see us as a chiropractor, and we'll check the digestive system, we'll check the nervous system, we'll get all that taken care of too.
So here's a good question. If you yourself were living your best life in Miami, like I know you want to skip off to Florida.
Not Miami though. I like the West Coast.
Well, if you were to get off to the beach and you were in a nice hot environment and you were working outside or constantly outside, what would you pack to eat?
Oh gosh, well, water of course. Super Greens Essential Source I take before I went.
And Instagram will be right back.
Couple pieces of fruit. Vegetables, hummus works real well for things like that. I would definitely stay away from the breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas. And of course, no alcohol, because the alcohol will just dry you out. But I do it every day. And
That
it's
could
pretty
be
much my
really
life.
easy. I mean, just raw veggies.
Raw veggie salads, absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is how I eat every single day. And so far, my brain's still working, my body's still working, and all my tests, all my medical tests come back perfect.
DWSB. Depend on it.
The information presented on this program is not intended to take the place of your personal physician's advice, and it is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Discuss this information with your own physician or healthcare provider to determine what is right for you.
If you ignore your health, it will go away. Listen to Dr. Joe Esposito on News 95.5 and AM 750 WSB.
Hey folks, thanks so much for staying with me. If you stayed with us, if you're just joining us, welcome. Glad you could be here. I am Dr. Joe Esposito, and we're talking today about the benefits or the downside of a plant-based diet. And there are a couple of things you have to be careful with. And I did promise before I went to break that we're going to talk about protein. The number one question everybody gives me is protein. Where do you get your protein from? But I want to take this caller first. It's like an interesting caller. Oh, by the way, if you have a question, the number here at the studio is 844-44 Dr. Joe, and that number rings through my offices when I'm not on the air. Kelsey, how can we make your day better? Hi, Kelsey. Good. Uh-huh. Right. Yes. Sure. Yes. Oh, that's easy. Okay, so gluten-free, protein-free diet too, you said? Casein-free. Okay, so you're gluten and casein-free, and you're getting hangry, and you've only been doing it for 3 days. Okay, step number one, hang in there. Step number two, okay, what are you eating? Tell me what you are eating, first of all. Let's go that way. Okay. Okay, so rice and fruit and vegetables. Okay, the rice is sugar. It's pure sugar. And the fruit is sugar. So what you're doing is you're giving your body a ton of sugar, and that's really not the direction you want to go in. So be careful with the sugar there. I would say if you want to switch to a grain, I'd switch to quinoa. So quinoa is a grain, sort of. It's actually a seed. But it kind of gives you the idea of rice, but it's lower in carbohydrates. And so I'd recommend, if we can, try switching to that. Having salad at least one meal a day. I would recommend the super greens and the essential source, of course, because that's going to give you the nutrients. And what's happening to you, Kelsey, is you're going through a detoxification. So sometimes when patients change their diet, they do feel bad for a couple of days. Let's try adding maybe some beans, maybe some hummus to your diet. Some refried beans, some split peas if you want to. Split pea soup might be something that's heavy for you. And then keep mixing up the vegetables there, and I promise you in a couple of days you'll feel better. But beans are very filling. Chickpeas, garbanzo beans, those are very filling, and that's a good segue into this new lifestyle you're getting into. Could you do that for me? Okay, do you have any acid reflux or heartburn, burping, gas, bloating? Okay, so the acid reflux is a big issue too, because your stomach, I talk about this every show, your stomach sits below your diaphragm, and if you're having acid reflux, your stomach can be pushed up into the diaphragm, and that can cause acid to come up into the throat. And a good portion of, I taught postgraduate work yesterday at Life University, and a good portion of the workshop that we did in the 4 hours was talking about how to fix the digestive system. And so if you have that, you need to have one of us massage the stomach or pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm. And that relaxes the whole digestive system. And I know when I'm hungry all the time, my stomach is up against my diaphragm. And when you pull the stomach away from the diaphragm, instantly I start to feel better. So that might be a component that we need to look at for you as well. Okay? Stick with it though. You're going to be very happy going gluten-free and casein-free. I promise you. That's a decision you're going to be happy with for the rest of your life. Okay? Thanks, Kelsey. Appreciate the call. And folks, if you do have a question, like Kelsey, 844-44 Dr. Joe is the number here at the studio. We'd see if we get you on the air, see if there's something we can help. So we're talking today about plant-based diet. Is it something that's good for you? Now let's talk about, the protein. That's what I promised, yes. Plant protein can meet requirements when a variety of plant foods are consumed and energy needs are met. Bottom line is the American Dietetic Association says if you're eating a good variety of fruits and vegetables, and nuts and seeds could be part of that, they don't even have to be, and you're maintaining your energy levels and your weight that you want to be at, you're getting enough protein. And the biggest question I get, I really got to, Garrett, we got to do this one day. We just got to print up cards and say, where do you get your protein from? And we'll just hand out cards to everyone because everybody got that same question.
I just want to start going to events and have it written on my shirt.
Yeah, it really is like that, isn't it? Yeah, that's a good idea. T-shirts. Where do you get your protein from? And just hand them out to every person we know who's a vegetarian, right? Ahmad, you have no questions, right? No, you got it all. You've heard enough shows now. You've heard how many thousand shows you've heard now? I know you and Garrett can take over for me. I think someday. They'll never know, and you guys are way better looking than me too. That's what. I'm on camera. That's right.
How about you and me and Tim Andrews just take over one night?
Yeah. If you don't know who Tim Andrews is, folks, he does a show with Eric Von Hessler, and I'm a guest on there. And Tim does my voice, and they call me Dr.Joe. And I cry literally in tears. It hurts so much because he's so funny. To be in a room with him is just amazing. And whatever Eric and I will be having a conversation, and Tim will butt in my voice. Like we were talking about water one day and getting energy and people tired all the time. And Tim, in my voice, and apparently he sounds just like me. Everyone says that he sounds just like me.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly
you
right.
Can't tell the difference, and you work with me every day, right, Garrett? You haven't heard it yet? It's hysterical. So we're talking about energy one day, and Tim comes in, he goes, and heroin, you need to take heroin, but make sure it's organic because you don't want those pesticides. And none of us expected him to do this because we didn't know he could even do this. And the whole place just fell apart. Sabrina Cupid stuck her nose in the door. She goes, I can't do the news. I can't do news because I'm laughing so hard. So one day you guys can tie me up, throw me in the trunk of my car, and then you guys can do the show with Tim.
Godfather style.
Godfather style, that's right. Like Uncle Louie used to do. Yeah. So anyway, back to where were we?
Protein. Where do you get it from?
Yes. Your body only needs 8 to 10% of its total caloric intake as protein. Anything beyond that is wasted. A steak is about 21% protein. So all that extra protein has to go into your stomach, be broken down to amino acids, go into your liver, be further detoxified, and be passed out through your bowels or your kidneys. And that's a major strain on your liver and your kidneys. So when you go to a lesser protein diet, where you are, I shouldn't say lesser, a normal amount of protein, plant-based, you'll probably be amazed on how much more energy you have. The number one consumer of energy we have as humans is romance. The number two consumer of energy is digestion. And the hardest thing to digest is animal products. So I promise you, I've been doing this for 32 years now. There's a lot of professional athletes going plant-based, and their performance is skyrocketing. Executives are going to it because it gives them more energy, gives them an advantage in the boardroom. So there's no reason not to do this, folks, I promise you. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about some supplements that you may want to take if you are plant-based, but you probably want to take these supplements even if you're not plant-based. Folks, got to go to a break. If you have a healthcare question, give us a call here at the studio, 844-44-Dr.Joe. My website, if you want to order supplements, books, if you want to watch videos, audios, podcasts, send me questions, or make an appointment. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge in the Atlanta area, drjoe.com. Hey, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
For most people, you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling,
And how much
headaches. Maybe it's time to stop suffering and it's time to take action. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, why don't you come see me and my team of doctors, and let's see if you have a problem that we can help. Go to my website, drjoe.com, call 844-44-Dr.Joe to make an appointment today, because so many of you are out there suffering needlessly, and we want to put a stop to that. Come see us at our offices in Marietta, Stockbridge, and Duluth. Make an appointment today so we can help get you well and keep you well.
Every hand.
Okay. Back to our Facebook and Instagram, folks.
Is it okay to throw meat eaters in the trunk when they ask too many questions about vegan protein? I'm going to say that's Dr. Joe approved.
I've thought that a couple occasions. No, it's interesting because, first of all, most people know who I am. Everywhere I go in the world, people know who I am. So nobody argues with me anymore. When I was first on my journey, they know, well, you got to get your protein. You know what you're talking about. You need your calcium. You know what you're talking about. And I'd hear that a lot. But now, I always, there's a famous line, don't go to battle with an unarmed man. And so I just hand anybody, all the information, just their brain will explode. But if you're new at this, sometimes it can be a challenge, and I totally get that. And all you got to do is say, listen, go to drjoe.com. He's got over 1,000 hours of podcast there. He'll give you the scientific research to show you that I'm right. Now, let's change the topic, unless you want to argue with them. But if I'm at parties or something like that, I don't discuss these things. I say, you know what, give me a call, we'll talk later when there's not other people around. Or let's go out, maybe have lunch or something like that and we'll talk. Or just go to my website, listen to the podcasts. And somebody sent me an email the other day and he says, you know, you don't need to detox ever. That's a bunch of crud and pseudoscience, went on and on and on. So I just sent him a link for about 4 or 5 different wasn't even my research, it was other research, and I never heard back from him. So yeah, everything I say is true. Why would I lie to you about this? I mean, I have no benefit to lie to you about this. I make no money on it. So yeah, there's absolutely no reason why. And I said earlier, why would I do it if it wasn't the best? If there was a better way to take care of myself without chiropractic care, without a good diet, without supplements, I'd be doing it. Why wouldn't I? I have access to any kind of health care I want anywhere in the world. This is what I choose. So.
And speaking on parties, I mean, going to a party, I can go to a dinner party, not eat any meat or dairy products, and not drink any alcohol, and I get asked more about why aren't you eating the meat than I do, can I get you a drink?
Exactly.
It's,
yeah.
You know.
Well, went the other day with Brendan, one of our coworkers. I took him to it was a steakhouse, and one of the doctors was having a dinner at steakhouse. And I said, Brendan, you want to go? He said, yeah, sure. So we went, and everybody, you know, they had a little piece of steak, a little piece of fish, whatever. And I said to the waiter, and it's a real high-end steakhouse. You'd know the name if I said it. And I said, I'm vegan. They said, no problem. I said, that's service. And they brought out this plate of food. It was a platter of food. And it was mushrooms and asparagus and Brussels sprouts and spinach and everyone. That looks so good. Wow, that looks good. I said, one bite? No, I'm good. And everybody else nibbled on their little piece of steak and picked the flesh out of their mouth. I had leftovers. I had a meal and I had leftover, and I'm sure cost-wise mine was a fraction of what their little steak was. I felt better, lots of fiber. Brussels sprouts, diindolylmethane. Diindolylmethane prevent testosterone from converting into estrogen, so it helps my testosterone levels stay high. Why wouldn't you do this? Endothelin carbinol, which helps prevent cancer, all of that. And the steak, nothing but bad stuff, although people said it tasted good. And I had all the good stuff. So there's no reason not to do this, and it's cheaper.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ask the meat eaters where they get their micronutrients.
Oh, good point. Well, I'm stealing that from you, man. And they'll say, you what?
Okay, so if we have time, this is going to be a little bit longer, and that is, so Dr. Joe, I have 3 mild leaky heart valves. Can it be slowed down with diet?
Kathy, is that you on the line? Because I see a Kathy with 3 leaky heart valves, so I'm assuming it's the same person. So I'll answer that on the air for you, Kathy. How about that?
This is not Kathy. This is a Sue. So
no way.
That is 2 of the identical questions.
I can't imagine those are 2 different people. That's too weird. We've never had this question ever. So, well, Sue, keep listening. I was going to answer it for Kathy. 3 leaky heart valves. Anything with diet.
That's how it was when we were in Cancun. The vegan food was so much better. Yeah.
Oh, it really is. Yeah. And again, if you're going to eat animal products, make sure it's organic, and what you do is up to you. It's always your choice, but trust me on this one. You won't be unhappy if you make this decision. Keep looking at Ahmad here. Oh, here we go.
Most dangerous words in the English language are, maybe it will go away. Stop suffering and start getting well. Dr. Joe Esposito is on WSB.
Hey folks, thanks so much for listening. I do appreciate you taking time out of your very, very busy day. And we're talking today about plant-based diets, and are they safe and are they good? And I did promise when we come back some things you have to be careful with if you're on a plant-based diet. People always ask about protein. We covered that. The quality of plant protein varies. Digestibility, corrected amino acid score. That's actually a thing, a PDCAAS, which is the standard method of determining protein quality. Soy protein is as effective as animal protein. Wheat protein, about 50% less absorbable. Nutrition care professionals should be aware that protein needs might be higher than the RDA in vegetarians whose sole dietary sources of protein are plants. And they could recommend cereals and legumes. So this is the American Dietetic Association. But now remember, even though you might not absorb, the meat is going to be a super high concentration of protein, that could be too much protein. And it usually is. So I don't know anyone who's ever gone plant-based and had a protein deficiency, ever. And I've been doing this for 34 years. I've dealt with thousands and thousands of people, and with the radio shows and TV shows, probably millions have been exposed to our information. Never ever has somebody come back and said, Doc, I have kwashiorkor, which is a protein deficiency. Usually, if you're going to have a condition like kwashiorkor, you have chronic diarrhea, you're vomiting all the time, you're not eating, anorexia, bulimia. But I've never known anyone to ever have a protein deficiency, ever, in all the years I've been doing this. And I've been doing it for an awful long time now. So you're fine. I don't like soy protein as a source, especially textured soy protein. It's really hard to digest, can cause a lot of gas. If I eat like textured soy hamburgers, I just feel awful afterwards. So I'm not a fan of the textured soy protein. When they hydrolyze the protein, it can free up a lot of glutamic acid. Now, glutamic acid is an excitotoxin to the brain. I was watching a TV show the other day, and it's about this guy who ruins everything. And they had MSG, so it caught my eye, and I listened, and he said, that's absolutely a farce. MSG does absolutely nothing to your body. It's perfectly safe and healthy. What? I want to crawl through the TV. What are you, insane? No, it's not. MSG is free glutamic acid, and glutamic acid is good when it's mixed with other proteins. It plays well with others. If you isolate glutamic acid, aspartic acid, that super concentration can bombard the brain and create an excitotoxic reaction. Headaches, blurred vision, dizziness, anxiety, pain, death. One of the side effects of artificial sweetener is death. Hunger, increase your hunger. It attacks the hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus is attacked by these excitotoxins, and then the hypothalamus isn't able to perceive fullness, if that's a word, and so then you get hungry. So for some idiot to say that it's healthy is just insane, but it's not. And the research is very, very clear that the excitotoxins, aspartic acid and glutamic acid, are very, very bad for you. And that's why I don't like the textured soy proteins. Again, you're getting plenty of protein from all the plants you're eating. You're going to just be fine. And think about this. What does a cow get its protein from? Grass, if a healthy cow. Horses, grass. Elephants, hippopotami, that's plural. The longest living, strongest animals in the world are on a plant-based diet. And then we eat their flesh. So we're eating recycled plants. Why not eat the whole plant? Let's start going to some callers. 844-44 Dr. Joe. Ross, how can we make your day better? I'm happy you called, Ross. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Sure. 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 Absolutely. How to gain weight? Good question. That's a good question. In fact, I have two patients just recently came to me with, and I had that come in as a question on my website today, as a matter of fact. So what you got to do is eat more nuts and avocados. And avocados and nuts. So eat nuts, a couple of handfuls every day, every meal. And almonds, walnuts, pecans, pistachios. I wouldn't do peanuts because peanuts have something called a mycotoxin, and mycotoxin can cause an allergic reaction. That's why a lot of people don't do peanuts well. So anything but peanuts, and also avocados, 1 or 2 a day. So if they're on sale, stock up on them. You know an avocado is ripe. Push on it; it should feel like the tip of your nose. If it's as soft as the tip. Okay, yeah, just push on a little bit. It should give just a little bit, like as you push it on the tip of your nose, it gives a little bit. And 1 or 2 avocados a day, several handfuls of nuts every meal, and probably within a couple of days, you should start to see a change. And we had one patient, she had a lung transplant, and she was on steroids, and the doctor said, eat anything you want because you have to keep your weight up. And so she was eating dairies and meats and ice creams, and I was like, oh my God, that's destroying your immune system, and you already have an autoimmune disease. So we got her on nuts and avocados. She's putting on the weight. The doctor said, okay, you're doing great. We're not going to have to put you on IV or anything like that. And she's really happy with the results because she's feeling much better. So try the nuts and avocados every meal, and let's see what happens. Okay, thanks. And by the way, take the Super Greens, the essential source, too, because that's going to give you the nutrients to better utilize your nutrients, and that can help you effectively utilize the nuts and avocados more efficiently. Okay? Thanks a lot. And folks, if you haven't taken Super Greens, an essential source yet, well, you're some of the few people in the world that haven't. You need to get on the bandwagon. It's the minimum amount of nutrients you need to take every single day. And it's 2 powders. They taste great. I got them here at the studio with me. They're available on my website, drjoe.com. If you come into our offices, we have offices in the Atlanta area, Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. If you come and pick them up, we still doing the same thing, Garrett?
Still doing it.
Okay, buy 3, get 1 free. So that saves us the work and the shipping, and we're going to pass those costs on to you. So that's on the website, has our addresses, drjoe.com. If you're somebody who wants to lose weight, Ross wants to gain weight, wants to gain weight. Losing weight is another issue. I talked a lot about that in my postgraduate seminars I taught yesterday. We do something called the Doctor Supervised Weight Loss Program. And in that program, we put you on a 21-day protocol where we get you on high nutrients, get you on some fiber, and we try to get the body functioning at a higher level, kind of clean things out and get you jump-started. And once you jump-start into eating better and you start feeling better, it's easier to carry on, and then you continue with the weight loss program. But the Doctor Supervised Weight Loss Program, if you call the office, 844-44-Dr.Joe, you can ask for Kayla. She can give you all that information on how we do it. But we're talking today about a plant-based diet, and absolutely. Now, Kathy's on hold, and she's got a question about her heart valve. So, Kathy, keep holding on, because I got to go to a break pretty soon, and I won't have enough time to answer. I got to go to a break in 1 minute, so keep holding, okay? So, folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. My website is drjoe.com, and you can send me questions through the website. You can listen to podcasts. Well over 1,000 hours of podcast, audio and video. And the way we have it is, if you look at SoundCloud, those are downloadable. If you look at the Dr. Joe Show, that's the YouTube version, and we have the radio shows. We videotape our radio shows now, so you get to see my pretty face. Make sure you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, because we send out a lot of good information, and you can watch me do my shows a lot of times. And do me this favor, everybody. Send me your email address. We'll never give it away, I promise you. But we send out a newsletter, and we send out, sometimes we have tickets to lectures and events. We want to give them to you, and the only way we give them out is if you're on our list. So you got to give you our email address. Still got 20 seconds, don't we? Okay, Ahmad, that's why you started the music too. Oh, 10 seconds. All right, Ahmad started the music too soon there. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Again, we're talking about plant-based diets, drjoe.com. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back.
Great news, everybody. Thanks to advances in medicine, you may live longer than you think. So you should plan on living into your 90s.
No problem.
For women, maybe even longer.
We'll try to make this more interactive anyway, so this is good for us. So.
Your savings come up.
All right, what do we got? What do you have? What do you have?
Been holding that in.
Oh, yeah.
What are mushrooms good for? Depends on the mushroom.
Depends on the mushroom. I tell you, you and Tim Andrews and Ahmad are going to take over my show someday. Well, don't do them get high, okay, because I can't condone that. Mushrooms are great because they help the immune system. If you're going to do mushrooms, try to do organic, because they do have a tendency to absorb heavy metals from the soil. So organic mushrooms are better than non-organic mushrooms. But they're great for the immune system. That's one of the things that they really stand out in the immune area. So that would be the area I would look at, too. They taste good. They're inexpensive. I make the best stuffed mushrooms in the world. So I think the recipe's actually in the book, Eating Right for the Health of It. So what else? Great substitute for meat, too. Portobello mushroom. If you marinate it and then grill it a little bit, like heaven.
Can your stomach being pushed into your diaphragm cause you to feel short of breath?
Absolutely. That's one of the side effects. And when you're standing up during the day, it's usually better because you have gravity pulling it down. When you lay down, the stomach can push up against the diaphragm, and then you can't breathe. And then you start to snore. You're gasping for air. And then people have sleep apnea. So if we pull the stomach away from the diaphragm, again, I could give you a whole, how much did we talk about that yesterday, Garrett? Probably an hour of the 4 hours?
That was at least an hour, not an hour and a half or two.
And all the doctors from all around the country had questions about it, and they were just blown away with the fact you can actually adjust the stomach. And we did a clinic for the doctors and showed them how to do it.
And then we had doctors trying it on other doctors and trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
It was really cool.
It was a lot of fun, yeah. And like I said, Garrett's gonna look at that. If we edit it or not, we might put it up on YouTube for you guys. The whole 4-hour program it was great.
What do you think about eating keto?
And we haven't gotten our erectile dysfunction question yet. So we got the keto, the protein. Now we got to do that. If you listened earlier, and that's why you got to tune in the whole show, we covered that already. Keto diet's okay for about 2 months. Anything beyond 2 months, the research is coming out now. It's not looking good. Can increase your risk of heart disease by over 30%. It's not sustainable in most cases. It's not practical in most. Some people are very strict and they can do it, and that's great. But I wouldn't recommend doing it for more than 2 months.
What is the best moisturizer and soap for your skin?
Coconut oil is the best moisturizer, and Castile soap is the best soap. Castile soap is a liquid soap, and that's the one I have in all my house, all my bathrooms, my showers. It's Castile soap everywhere.
You can use it. You can brush your teeth with it.
Yeah, I tried that
your
one
hair.
time. I remember I was in college. I was with my roommates Tom and Steve. We were down in Key West, and we were camping out, and we had some Castile soap, and I said, "Oh, it's so safe. You can brush your teeth with it." Don't brush your teeth with it. I remember the campsite we were at, and I put some on my toothbrush. I went, I was spitting it out. They were laughing, but that's what college guys do. But you can brush your teeth with it, but you probably shouldn't brush your teeth with it. You can also use it as a shampoo, but it does dry out your hair pretty much. So I'm not a big fan of it for shampoo, although it is usable. What else you got? I know you got a lot of questions today.
I've been to the ENT, the oral surgeon, and the ER. I'm having pain in my tongue, jaw, ear, and neck
Yes.
on the left side of my face.
Yes.
CT and teeth scans are all normal.
Good. Okay, it's probably a pinched nerve. Because if the cranial nerves, they come out of your skull and they go right into your face, like the facial nerve, the trigeminal nerve. The neck area, cranial nerves come right out of the skull into the body. The spinal nerves go through the spine and then out. So they kind of have a longer to go. And usually when you have that type of pain, it's trigeminal neuralgia, could be facial nerve issues. So the skull can shift pinching the nerves, or the upper part of the neck can shift pinching the nerves. So it sounds like a pinched nerve. We know it's not. You've had the CAT scan, you've had the teeth scan, it's not cancer, it's not a fracture, so it's probably a misalignment. So you need to come see us and we'll check it out. And if it's there, I'll tell you. If it's not, I'll tell you that too. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then probably you'll say, like most people do, why didn't I do this sooner?
And then would the same kind of answer work for someone who's having pain behind their eyes?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Now, it's a good idea to get it checked, always. I have macular degeneration with part of the postgraduate classes we taught yesterday. I put my pictures up of my eyes. It was really cool. Over the years, how it's gotten better and better and better when macular degeneration never gets better. So, theoretically, I probably should be blind by now, and it's actually about 80% better. Guess what? Super Green's an essential source. That's the thing I did, and that's when my eyes started getting better, because I'm super high in antioxidants, which actually repairing my damage. The best I could have hoped for was that it didn't get worse, and it actually got better, which is really cool.
I was actually really worried because I was looking at the pictures that you sent me, and I was like, what's the difference? You know, because I'm looking at a little bitty thumbnail.
Oh, right,
like,
yeah, okay.
The veins look the same in every one, like.
Yeah, but when you blew it up on you saw the difference, right?
And then finally in the room on the projector, it was like, okay, now I see it. I was just crossing my fingers. You moved to the second slide, and you were like, okay, now do you see here? And I'm like,
oh, it really is better. Yeah, that's true. You were looking at a little a tiny little thing, right? Yeah, but you saw it. It was very impressive to see my eyes actually improving. So, kind of neat. Hey, Super Green's an essential source, man. Stuff rocks. What else you got? What do you have? What else you got?
Yeah, what do you have? Can you describe the flavor of the essential source in Super Greens?
Yummy.
He thinks they taste great. I have no personal problem with the essential source. The Super Greens, I do have to mix with a coconut milk just for a little more sweetness.
I mix the two together because I agree. The Super Greens are wheatgrass, barley grass, and alfalfa grass. They're very green tasting. When I mix the two, I'm fine with it, and that's this here. And I'm perfectly fine with it. And most people are, even children like it. And if you really have a problem with it, take a frozen banana, whip it up with your coconut milk, Super Greens, and essential source, whip it up and do it that way, you'll be fine. Because even babies will do that. All right, we're going to go back on air soon. Again, folks, if we don't get to you, the website is always there, drjoe.com. You can always send us questions, watch this podcast again. And if you want to become a patient or order the products, you can do that online too.
Wednesday, mostly sunny to partly sunny, high 86, low 65 to 69.
74 degrees on Peachtree Street at News 95.5 and AM 750 WSB. Depend on it.
If you're like most people, you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headaches.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to stop suffering and it's time to take action. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, why don't you come see me and my team of doctors, and let's see if you have a problem that we can help. Go to my website, drjoe.com, or call 844-44-Dr.Joe to make an appointment today, because so many of you are out there suffering needlessly, and we want to put a stop to that. Come see us at our offices in Marietta, Stockbridge, and Duluth. Make an appointment today so we can help get you well and keep you well.
Hey folks, thanks for being here. I do appreciate you taking time to spend with me, and hope you're learning lots of things. And then, I love when you guys call in and say you listen to the show forever. And it was a lot of fun. I said I was teaching postgraduate yesterday at Life University in Marietta to a bunch of doctors, and it was really cool. Afterwards, one guy came up to me and he was almost in tears, and he hugged me. He says, "That was the best seminar I've ever heard in 25 years." And we've got some amazing instructors at Life University, and we've got some amazing researchers out there. And that moved me. This was a very well-respected doctor. This is somebody who's been around for a while, very, very good reputation. And it was really neat because we try to keep it simple. We try to teach you the things you need to do to naturally get well and stay well. The most important thing, I find, is making sure the nervous system is working properly. So that's where chiropractic comes in. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, most of you are suffering needlessly. So come in and see us. But here's the thing. If you do come see us, it's not going to go away in one visit. If you come in and expect the miracles to happen, we don't do that. The guy who did miracles, he wore sandals. That was 2,000 years ago. I look Jewish, but I'm not Jewish. So I'm not going to be able to help you there. If you want to get well, it may take a little time. When I say a little time, we're talking weeks or months. We're not talking years in most cases. So if you're serious about wanting to get well, get the nervous system working, get the diet straightened out, and fix your digestive system, come see us. You can go to my website, drjoe.com. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge in the Atlanta area. Kathy, you were more than patient. How can we make your day better? You're welcome. Uh-huh. Right. And a mitral. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Open heart surgery. Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So 3 valves leaking, and the doctor just said, well, your heart valves are leaking, and that's it. That was his answer. Yeah. Now, how old are you, Kathy? I don't know who you are, so how old are you? 67. Kathy. Oh, okay. Sure. Right, okay. All right, well, at 67, you're too young to have AFib and leaky valves. I'm sorry, you're just too young for that. So a couple of things I'd suggest. With the AFib, you want to check the nerve supply to the heart. Because again, we're a sack of flesh with wires running through it. And if you have a irregular neurological input to the heart, you may have a pinched nerve in the lower part of your neck. That's the nerve to the heart. The other thing I look at with AFib patients, and I'm one of them, by the way. I had AFib for many, many years in my life. AFib is fibrillation, abnormal beating of the heart, folks. It skips beats. It goes high and low. I remember being a kid. One of the earliest recollections I have of being human is laying in bed, and my heart would go beep, beep, ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-bum, and then stop. Am I dead? It would start again. And what I found was my stomach was pushed up against my diaphragm. And I had burping a lot, I had a lot of gas, I had acid reflux, and I was a kid. I thought everybody had it. I thought that was normal. And when I finally realized it, it was 10 or 15 years ago, how to fix these things, I grabbed one of my doctors. I said, I want you to adjust my stomach. He didn't know what I was talking about. I said, pull my stomach away from my diaphragm. And when he did, for the first time in my life, I had no stomach pain. I always had some or more, but I had never had none. The acid reflux went away, and it took several adjustments to get it to stay there, and my AFib totally went away. Now, I don't know if that's your cause, but it's certainly worth looking into. With the leaky valves, you want to make sure you're getting lots of antioxidants, because antioxidants can help protect muscles. Also, with someone like you, you might want to look at something called CoQ10, Coenzyme Q10, because CoQ10, oh, you take it already, good, because CoQ10 helps the mitochondria, the part of the cell, generate electricity and generate energy. And so CoQ10 for someone like you would be very, very important as well. But I would check the stomach, I would check the nerve supply to the heart, I would check the diet, Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, very good for alkalizing the system. You might want to consider Dr. Joe's Nitric Oxide, which opens up the blood vessels as well. And let's see if we can stabilize the heart. And a plant-based diet, there's a lot of research out there on Dr. Greger's one of them. There's several other doctors that are heart specialists that when they put people on a plant-based diet, they can actually reverse heart disease. Dr. McDougall does a lot of the research on that. So if you look up Dr. McDougall's research, showing that you can reverse heart disease with a plant-based diet in most cases. So you might want to consider that. But come see us. Let's see if we can get that checked out for you. We have an office in Stockbridge. Yes. Perfect. Natural blood thinners. Well, a plant-based diet is going to help tremendously. That's going to thin the blood, and that's going to solve the problem. Like when I donate blood, my blood comes out twice as fast as everybody else's, which is pretty cool. Whenever I donate blood, I always watch everybody else's bag, and mine fills up twice as fast. So just going to a plant-based diet will help thin the blood naturally as well. Okay? Great. Great, Kathy. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. All right, let's take another call here. Lisa, how can we make your day better? I'm happy you called, Lisa. Super greens, right? No, you can mix it. However, if you're going to do collagen protein, I do have a concern. And the concern is this, like bone broth and collagen. Animals, when they're exposed to heavy metals, like lead, it'll settle into bones and the collagen. Let's look at it this way. I'll answer this a little more in depth. Collagen protein, plant-based proteins, bone broth, it all has to be broken down into amino acids and then reassembled. So no matter where the source of protein is, it's going to break down to amino acids and then get reassembled. So collagen is going to be broken down just like bean is going to be broken down. So you run less risk of getting heavy metal toxicity from eating plant-based than you would collagen. And that's why the whole concept of things like bone broth and collagen never sunk in my brain, because they're all broken down to the same raw materials anyway. So. Okay? So you recommend everyone listening should come see us, right, Lisa? Excellent. Well, thanks. I appreciate those kind words. Thanks, Lisa. All right, we'll see you at the office. All right, bye-bye. See, folks, there you go. Unsolicited testimony from Lisa. I didn't even know she was a patient until she said that. So I don't know her voice. I know who she is when she said it, though. Folks, if you have any healthcare questions, we have one more segment of this amazing hour of the Dr. Joe, 2 hours of Dr. Joe show. My website, drjoe.com, if you want to get supplements, if you have questions, you want to make an appointment like Lisa did, drjoe.com. Offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. And the supplements, of course, are on the website, too. One more segment if you have any questions, 844-44-Dr. That number rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back.
Headaches. Chances are you'd benefit from chiropractic care. Most people benefit from chiropractic care because chiropractic care tries to get to the cause of your problems and not just cover up the symptoms. If you're ready to get well, I want you to go to my website, drjoe.com, or call 844-44-Dr. and make an appointment for you, your friends, and your family today. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. Make an appointment today so we can help get you well and keep you well.
At a certain age.
Okay, what do you have? What do you got?
Have you heard of BioCoffee?
BioCoffee? No.
Me neither.
Okay.
But maybe you could go over a short version of your talk yesterday about coffee to tea, or coffee to mate to tea to...
Perfect, yeah. If you're going to do coffee, you got to do organic. That's the number one rule. If you're not doing organic, you shouldn't be drinking coffee. It's just that simple. Coffee is one of the most highly sprayed foods with pesticides in the world. So you're dumping not just the coffee, which I'm not a fan of, but you're dumping all these toxic chemicals in there as well. So it's got to be organic. My recommendation would be decaf is better than regular, if you can do it. Then we want to try to get you off that coffee flavor and into the tea flavors. So you might want to switch to mate, which is a tea, which has caffeine as well. And some mates have less caffeine. Somebody said yesterday some mates have more caffeine. But the mate is your next step, then black tea, then white teas, and then off the caffeine altogether if we can. But organic coffee, please, if you're going to do it, absolutely positively.
And then there's also a lot to be said about the darkness of the roast.
Yes, the lighter is better. Lighter has less toxic chemicals than the darker. So the lighter roast is going to be better for you. Yeah.
But then the darker the roast, the lower the acidity.
Right, exactly. So it's, like Elvis said, I'm caught in a trap, man. So yeah, just be careful with your coffees. If you're going to do them, they got to be organic. So what else?
We timed out, so let me go back and find some of these questions.
Oh, we timed out on. Oh, the questions timed out. Okay.
Uh-huh.
That's the problem with Facebook and Instagram, folks. We got to be careful. I know with Instagram we're only allowed 1 hour at a time, so we do a show and then we got to cut out and then go back in again. And then Facebook sometimes, when you send in questions, they scroll, and we get so many questions, we don't get to them, and they scroll out, and we lose them. So that's what Garrett's doing now, is looking for your questions.
And I write down as many of them as I can.
Yeah, I see you guys scrambling over there, writing as quickly as you can. So what are you saying? You're only human?
Well, what have you eaten today?
What did I eat today? Good question. I woke up this morning, and I had Super Greens, an essential source, of course, first thing. I had a salad for breakfast, actually, because I was craving salad, and I took some sliced almonds and some sesame seeds, and I toasted them very gently. When you toast them, it brings out a little slightly different flavor. I did a ginger dressing on it, a little bit of nutritional yeast. You want to do nutritional yeast from now until at least spring, at least a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon a day, because the beta-glucan in the nutritional yeast is going to help stimulate your immune system. Then I took my supplements. I took Dr. Joe's B complex, the omega-3s, of course, your adrenal support, nitric oxide, and I took some enzymes as well. And then, went out for lunch, and I had veggie fajitas. So I just had the veggie fajitas. And two of us, and this is the cool part about being plant-based again, two of us we ordered one serving of veggie fajitas, and didn't eat any of the wraps or anything like that. So it was beans and rice and guacamole and lettuce and pico de gallo and the veggies. The plate was this big, and salsa. And the two of us ate, and there was still leftovers on one serving. So it was $6, less than $6 a person. It was $11 and some odd cents for the two of us to eat. So that was amazing. Then I went home, and I was getting ready for my show. Did I eat anything else when I was there?
Your control, your health. Dr. Joe Esposito is on.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe, so glad you're here. Somebody had a question, didn't get on the air. What's best for the aging mind? And it's a real simple question. Because at my age, most people I know are starting to decline already. I know it's amazing, even at my age. Probably at Garrett's age too, they're starting to decline, right, Garrett?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Super Greens, an essential source, give you the raw materials your body needs. It's the minimum amount of nutrients. The nitric oxide opens up the blood supply to your brain and other parts. A lot of people are very happy with the nitric oxide, especially men, because it helps increase circulation to all parts of their body. It's a family show. We'll keep it clean. The vitamin D, every time I turn around, I'm finding new research on vitamin D and how important it is for everything, for helping build bones, to the immune system, to cancer, and the brain function and the nervous system now is showing up in research as well. So for that, water is going to be important. Chiropractic care. If you have a pinched nerve in your neck, you're cutting off the nerve and blood supply up into your head, so you might have neck pain, headaches, blurred vision, dizziness, loss of memory, fatigue, ring in the ear, sinus congestion. And in many cases, it's a chiropractic condition. We just need to put the bones back in place. So to keep the mind fresh, Super Greens Essential Source, B complex, Dr. Joe's B complex, the vitamin D, the nitric oxide, and then you have to keep your brain working. And I taught this yesterday in my postgraduate class. Go to my website, drjoe.com, and listen to well over 1,000 hours of podcasts. And you're going to hear things sometimes over and over again. You're going to say, I know he said that 7 times so far. I finally got it. Most people have to hear something 11 times before they remember it. So listen to the podcast. It's a great mental exercise because it's giving you new words and new ideas and new concepts that you've never heard before, and that expands your mind, expands that beautiful mind of yours. So using the brain, like everything else, is really important too. And all that information and the supplements, everything's on the website, drjoe.com. Also available on Amazon if you have an Amazon account, but drjoe.com is a great source. And Garrett just told me, he told me earlier, if you want to get the Super Greens, the essential source, if you come by the offices, we have offices in the Atlanta area, Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. If you buy 3, you get 1 free, which Garrett likes to spend my money, I'm finding out. As he,
we got a coupon code here.
Oh, we have a coupon code too? What do you got here? Eat Plants. Oh, there we go. Eat Plants. If you order off the website and you put in Eat Plants, it's good for 5 days?
It's good for about 5 days.
Okay.
That'll give you free shipping. Again, that's on the website only, drjoe.com, and that's for single order items. So any number of items that you want, but it's not for our subscriptions. It's just for if you want to try something new. Maybe you want to try something for the first time.
You're way too generous with my money, you know that? Yeah. And we do have, if you order, folks, if you get yourself on reorder, it's a little cheaper too that way. All right, let's take some callers here. We're running out of time. Karen, how can we make your day better? Excellent. Erythritol, yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. Uh-huh. Erythritol's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, every now and then I bring it. Well, a book, I can only put so much in a book, you know. So erythritol is okay. It's called an alcohol. It's not really an alcohol, but it's fine. If you take too much of it, you get diarrhea, and that's how you know you had too much of it. But I'm perfectly fine with erythritol if you want to do it. There's also sweeteners like monk fruit, stevia we talked about, all the lohan. These are all sweeteners that are all fine, and I have no problems with those. You want to stay away from the artificial sweeteners, which would be aspartic acid, aspartame, sucralose, acesulfame K, saccharin. Those are the ones that are so bad, and I really want you to stay away from those. Okay? Sure, you got me. Yes, we do. Of course we have one, Karen, yes. What I've done over the years, I found what are the main supplements that people need. I mean, there's a million supplements out there, but these are the major ones that people take. Now, it's vitamin D. It's from a lanolin source, and it's a liquid. And it's vitamin D3 with K2. And K2 helps build the bones. So I take you can take 5 drops of that every day. And it works great, and it's wonderful, and it's on the website, drjoe.com. But especially in the winter, never let a day go by you're not taking your vitamin D3. Okay? Thanks, Karen. And speaking of vitamin D3, a lot of patients will come to me and say, well, my doctor prescribed 50,000 international units of vitamin D2, and I should take it once a week. Well, a couple of issues I have with that. Number one, vitamin D2 is synthetic. It has to be converted into vitamin D3, and it depends how well your body converts it. Number two, we have something called a bowel tolerance. What that means is you can only absorb so much stuff, and you can only absorb so much of vitamin D2 or 3. And so I'd rather you take 5,000 units a day and spread it out than take it all at once, because you're probably going to have a better effect, and D3 is more effective anyway. And so with vitamin C, which is important, if you take vitamin C, people say, how much should I take? And there's recommended dosages, but like the recommended dosage of vitamin D is, what is it? I think it's 600 or 800 international units a day. That's not going to change your blood work. It's not going to change the levels of vitamin D in your blood. You got to take about 5,000 units a day. And again, it's only 5 drops. I know 5,000 sounds like a lot. It's only 5 drops. So make sure it's vitamin D3. With vitamin C, you take it until you get diarrhea. And then you cut back about 80%. Cut back to 80% of the dosage, and that's your bowel tolerance. Same thing with magnesium. So your body can only absorb so much stuff. And we don't want to overload it or waste your money. Now, in most cases, it's safe. It's not going to cause problems. But the super greens are the essential source of the minimum amount of nutrients you should take every day. There are 2 powders. I mix it with coconut milk or almond milk. I don't do animal products. It tastes great. And I feel good. Now, if I have a busy day, if I have to do several lectures, like if I have to teach postgraduate, that's a lot of work. I'm talking to a bunch of doctors for 4 hours. I'll take a double dose. If I'm going for a hike, maybe I'm going out partying or something, I'll take a double dose, because again, until you get diarrhea, you're not going to overdose on it, and I've never had anyone overdose on it. So, and it's relatively inexpensive. Just over $2 a day for a scoop of super greens and essential source. That's both of them for just over $2 a day. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. So if you just tuned in, you missed an amazing show. As always, I promise to give you new stuff every show. If you missed it, go to my website, drjoe.com. We have over 1,000 hours of videos and audios. The one that says SoundCloud you can download, so download them if you want to. The other one, it says Dr. Joe Show. It's, again, the same shows, but that's on YouTube, so it's usually video with that as well, and you can watch me. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, so we do video live stream a lot of our shows. Send us your email address, please. We're not going to give it out, I promise, because with the email address, we send out specials. Maybe we have specials on supplements. We have tickets to lectures. Sometimes companies will hire me to give a lecture, and they're selling passes, and I always say, give me free passes so I can give them out to my people that are on my mailing list. And if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we have chiropractic offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We check your nervous system, we check your digestive system, acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, and we do a nutritional workup on all our patients. It's all part of your protocol. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, stop suffering and give us a call, 844-44-Dr. Joe, or make the appointment online, drjoe.com. Hey, thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show. We'll catch you next time.